Hello everyone, it's such a pleasure to see you back on my channel. Today, we'll dive deeper into the turbulent love story between single mother Hoai Ca and police officer Hung. As you followed in the previous episode, Hung made a crucial decision. He will continue to serve in the police force. In just 3 to 4 days, he will have to leave Hoai Ca and little Tony behind to take on a new assignment far away. During these short days, the two tried to cherish every moment together, yet deep inside Hung still carried an unspoken worry. Unexpectedly, just when everything seemed settled, a violent storm suddenly struck. Hoai Ca's small home, once a safe haven for the mother and child, now stood fragile amidst the wind, rain, and landslides. Hoai Ca and Tony had to struggle to survive, while Hung found himself caught in a heartbreaking dilemma. Can he leave with peace of mind while the woman he loves and the child are struggling in danger? Or will Hung defy everything to stay, protecting that fragile home at all costs, even if it means giving up the career he has devoted his life to? Today's episode will reveal the fierce conflict tearing apart Hung's heart, while also showing the resilient strength of Hoai Ca, a single mother who never bows down to life's storms. Stay tuned to find out what awaits them in this dramatic chapter. That day, the sky was gloomy from early morning. The heavy, stifling air before the storm weighed on everyone's chest. Hoai Ca and Hung stopped by Ha's house, planning to help Ha's mother climb up the hill to harvest the squash. Ha had to go to work and wasn't home, leaving only the elderly woman busy with countless worries. The three of them sat around a simple lunch, discussing plans to cut the squash the next day, tie them into big bundles, and bring them to the market for sale. But when the first thunderclap roared, the entire sky seemed to crack open. The wind howled violently, rain poured down in blinding sheets. Gusts of wind forced their way through the door gaps, carrying with them a chilling cold and eerie howls. The small house trembled under the wrath of nature. Hoai Ca sat staring at the rain, anxiety flooding her heart. I don't know how long the squash fields on the hill can hold on. If they're ruined, the whole season's effort will be wasted. Hung stepped onto the porch, the wind lashing his clothes, soaking him to the skin. His eyes gazed toward the distant slopes where the squash still waited to be harvested. Inside him, two opposing forces tore at each other. One urged caution and safety, the other worried for the crops. And above all, there was the image of Hoai Ca, the woman he loved. Meanwhile, Ha's mother softly called Hoai Ca to sit beside her. Her voice was low and steady, yet carried undeniable weight. My dear, the hardest thing for a woman is waiting. But it is also the happiest, if you wait for the right person. Hung has chosen his path, to serve as a policeman, away from home, away from his child. You must trust him, be his anchor. Only if you remain steadfast can this love withstand the storms. Tears welled in Hoai Ca's eyes. She held the old woman's calloused hand, her voice trembling. I truly love him. But thinking of stormy days like this, when he isn't by my side, I'm afraid. Afraid I won't be strong enough to endure, afraid Tony will grow up without a father's presence. The old woman smiled gently, her eyes drifting into the distance, as if recalling her own youth. Long ago, I too waited for my husband to return from the army. There were long nights of rain and wind, meals with only mother and child. But it was in those very days that I learned to stand firm. And one day, when my husband came back, every sacrifice was worth it. Believe me, if love is truly strong, no storm can ever wash it away. The wind shrieked outside, as though trying to drown out everything. Hoai Ca cradled Tony, trembling in her arms. Hung stood silently, watching, his heart twisting in pain. He knew that in just a few days, he would have to leave this place. But could he really leave Hoai Ca and the child to face the storms alone? The rain hammered down on the roof, thunder split the sky apart. Water surged down the slopes, a warning of dangers yet to come. Hung clenched his fists tightly, determination blazing in his eyes, as if he was ready to make a decision that could change everything. The rain poured down all day, so heavy that the roof rattled non-stop. Since they couldn't climb up the hill to harvest squash, Hoai Ca and Ha's mother stayed in the kitchen, stoking a blazing fire and making rice cakes to sell at the market once the storm passed. Smoke from the fire mixed with the sweet aroma of sticky rice flour, and cheerful laughter softened the gloom outside. Little Tony toddled around, helping his grandmother shape the dough, turning the small kitchen into a warm haven amid the raging storm. Yet, just as this small joy flickered to life, Hung received an urgent phone call. As soon as it ended, his face turned pale. Alarming news. Because of the heavy rains upstream, the hydroelectric dam was forced to release water. The river would rise quickly, threatening to flood homes along the banks, including Hoai Ca's house. Hung gripped the phone tightly, his heart pounding. He knew the danger was grave. One delay, and the whole house could be swept away by the violent current. But if he told Hoai Ca immediately, she would panic. And as she and Ha's mother were busy preparing cakes for the market, he didn't want the dread to shatter their rare moment of peace. He drew a deep breath, eyes resolute. I'll go check first. If anything happens, I'll face it head on. I can't let Hoai Ca and Tony fall into panic now. Without another word, Hung slipped on a raincoat, grabbed a flashlight and some ropes, and rushed into the torrential storm. The wind whipped his face, rain blurred his vision, but he pushed forward into the pitch-black night. The path toward Hoai Ca's small riverside house was already flooding, water surging over the steps, mud and debris swirling in the current. Meanwhile, at the district market, Hoai Ca and Ha's mother were still selling trays of steaming cakes. Rain drummed on the eaves, and fewer customers came than usual. Hoai Ca glanced outside again and again, a strange unease stirring in her chest. Some vague instinct kept pulling her thoughts back to the little riverside home, the shelter that had so often protected her and her child. Sensing her worry, Ha's mother spoke gently. Don't fret too much. Hung is a policeman, capable and steadfast. A man like him is someone you can trust, my dear. Hoai Ca gave a faint smile, but her heart could not shake its restless dread. She had no idea that, at that very moment, Hung was battling the rising floodwaters alone, fighting against the roaring storm to reinforce the small home that held all their love and hopes. Hung trudged along the muddy path, water already ankle-deep in every puddle. As he neared the riverbank, the sight before him made his heart tighten. The current was raging, muddy and rising higher by the minute. The thunderous roar of the water slammed against the banks as if it meant to swallow everything. Looking toward the small house, he was relieved the flood hadn't yet reached inside, but the softened earth around it showed clear signs of landslide. Some makeshift barriers that Hoai Ca had set up before the rainy season had already been knocked down by the wind, broken planks scattered everywhere. The chickens and ducks in the pen were drenched, squawking in panic, a few already swept away by the flood. Hung rolled up his pants and rushed forward, his chest burning with urgency. Through gritted teeth, he muttered, "No. If it stays like this, by tomorrow morning everything will be gone." Unable to handle it all alone, Hung turned back and rode straight to find Hoai Ca. When he arrived, his face was soaked with rain, panting as he delivered the grim news. Hoai Ca was stunned, but there was no time for fear. She immediately followed him back home. As soon as they arrived, neither wasted a moment. Hung lashed planks and bamboo stakes together to reinforce the animal pens, while Hoai Ca kept the fire going to dry straw for the poultry and passed sacks to weigh down the fences. The rain lashed at their faces, but both remained unyielding. In the corner, Tony sat watching, his innocent eyes fixed on his parents fighting the storm. Hoai Ca turned, her voice trembling but resolute. "We can't leave him here. If the flood hits overnight, it'll be too dangerous. We have to take him to my foster mother's." Hung nodded firmly, without hesitation. He scooped Tony up, handed Hoai Ca a raincoat, and together they rushed to entrust the child to the elderly foster mother in the village. Overcome with emotion, the old woman took Tony into her arms and reassured Hoai Ca. "Go, take care of the house. With me here, nothing will happen to him." After leaving Tony in safety, Hung and Hoai Ca returned through the downpour. The road was pitch black, lit only by the flickering beam of a flashlight and the urgent sound of the swelling river. They knew the night would be long, perhaps sleepless, as they fought to protect their home, their animals, and the fragile hope of their little family. Amid the relentless rain, Hung clasped Hoai Ca's hand tightly, his eyes unwavering. "No matter what happens, I'll be here with you. We will get through this storm together." Hoai Ca looked up at him, tears brimming in her eyes. And for the first time in the middle of the tempest, she felt a truly solid anchor by her side. After hastily securing the pens and makeshift fences, Hung and Hoai Ca were completely exhausted. Their clothes were soaked through, hair disheveled, and both collapsed onto the wooden chairs on the porch. The rain still pounded heavily, wind howling through every crack in the door, making the atmosphere cold and oppressive. Outside, the river kept rising, inch by inch. Small waves slammed against the bank with a chilling sound. Hoai Ca clasped her hands tightly together, her eyes betraying her anxiety. "Hung. I'm so scared. If the water keeps rising, the house, the chickens, the ducks, everything I've worked for will be gone. If the house itself is swept away, what will we do?" Hung looked at her pale face, his heart wrenching. He knew how hard Hoai Ca had worked to build this life, every penny scraped together, every drop of sweat poured into the fields and livestock. Now, seeing her shivering in the cold rain, he wished he could bear it all for her. He gently took her small hand in his, squeezing firmly, his voice deep and steady. "Don't worry. This will pass. The rain is already easing, and I'm sure the water will recede soon. The government and neighbors are doing everything they can to minimize the damage. What matters most is that you and Tony are safe. The rest, we can rebuild. Don't be afraid anymore." Hoai Ca lowered her head, tears mingling with the raindrops, falling onto their joined hands. Her voice trembled. "I'm only afraid that once you leave, when storms like this come, I won't be able to endure it alone. When you're here, I feel strong, but thinking of facing it by myself." Hung quickly pulled her close, his strong arms wrapping around her trembling shoulders. He whispered into her ear, firm yet gentle. "Listen to me. No matter where I am, I'll always be thinking of you. Even if I go far away, my heart will still be right here, with you and Tony. I promise, I'll never let you bear everything alone. I will be your support, your protector, against storms, and against any trial life throws at us." In his embrace, Hoai Ca choked back sobs, yet felt a warm flame ignite within her heart, pushing back the chill of the storm. The fear had not completely vanished, but in Hung's eyes, she saw trust, determination, and genuine love. Outside, the rain had not stopped, but within the small porch, the two sat hand in hand, as if they had found a solid wall to shield them against the tempest. Sitting amidst the pounding rain, seeing Hoai Ca still restless with worry, Hung remained silent for a long time. A heavy weight surged in his chest. In just 3 days, he would have to leave this place, put on his police uniform again, and depart for a faraway post. Yet the sight of Hoai Ca, huddled on the porch, her anxious eyes, her rain-soaked disheveled hair, made his firm decision begin to waver. He sighed softly, then turned to clasp her hand, his voice low. "Ca. I truly can't feel at ease. If I go far away, and storms like today strike again, how will you and Tony manage? Just thinking about it makes my heart sink. I'm terrified that somewhere far away, I'll be powerless while you and our child struggle alone. I don't want to abandon you in storms like this." Hoai Ca looked up, her eyes brimming with tears. Before his raw honesty, she could only remain silent. Hung swallowed hard, then spoke as if pouring out his soul. "What if I quit? I'll give up being a policeman. I'll stay here, with you, with Tony. I'll find another job. No uniform, no glory, just the chance to see you and our child safe every day. That would be enough for me." His words struck Hoai Ca like thunder. Her heart pounded wildly, torn between shock, fear, and deep emotion. She had never imagined he would think of giving up the career he once held with such pride, just to protect her. Shaking her head quickly, tears streaming down, she cried. "No, Hung. Don't say that. I know you love me, but being a policeman is your dream, your ideal. If you gave it up, would carry the guilt forever. I don't want to be the reason you abandon the path you chose." Hung gripped her hand tighter, his eyes burning with intensity. "But if keeping that path means sacrificing your safety, how could I ever be happy? Ca, I'd rather toil in another job, knowing you're safe and Tony grows up with his father by his side, than chase glory at the cost of losing you." Choked with emotion, Hoai Ca cupped his face with trembling hands, her voice both resolute and quivering. "Listen to me. Whatever happens, I'll be strong. I would rather endure hardships, rather shoulder everything alone, than let you live in regret all your life. You are my support, but you're also my pride. Please, continue with your work. It's not only your career, it's your duty, your calling." The rain still fell outside the porch, but at that moment, they could hear only each other's hearts. Hoai Ca's gaze was firm, her trembling hands still holding his tightly. And Hung's heart was in turmoil, torn between ambition and love. In that suspended moment, the world seemed to stand still, leaving only two people sitting close together, loving, fearing loss, clinging to something more sacred than anything else. Amid the endless sound of falling rain, Hoai Ca and Hung held each other tightly. Their hearts beat as one, yet they were tested by countless obstacles. They loved each other deeply, but time and again, fate seemed determined to pull them apart. Hung's demanding career, unfinished dreams, the raging storms, and the harsh circumstances that forced them to endure more than their share. In that warm yet trembling embrace, Hoai Ca could not hold back her tears. She feared losing him, yet she also didn't want him to lose his dream. Hung's broad shoulders, once so steady, now carried a heavy burden. On one side, his ideals, the sacred police uniform. On the other, a small home with the woman he loved and the little boy waiting for him. Which path will Hung choose? Will he continue down the road of his career, leaving Hoai Ca and Tony behind in danger? Or will he give it all up, stay by their side, and protect the love of his life? The answer remains uncertain, but will be revealed in the next episode. Stay tuned to see which path fate leads them down.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Hôm nay thì mình tiếp tục đưa đến với mọi người câu chuyện tình yêu của mẹ đơn thân Lý Hoai Ca và cảnh sát Hùng. Mọi người ơi, ở trong tập này thì có một chuyện rất là xui xẻo không may thì đã xảy ra đối với Hoai Ca khi căn nhà của Hoai Ca đang bị nước nhấn chìm trong cái cơn bão ấy. Thì Hùng và Hoai Ca đang rất lo lắng và cố gắng khắc phục hậu quả. Vậy thì liệu trong cái giai đoạn khó khăn như thế này thì Hùng liệu có tiếp tục chọn công việc để đi làm hay không, hay là sẽ ở nhà với Hoai Ca, và mọi chuyện sẽ diễn biến như thế nào tiếp theo thì mình mời mọi người đón xem vào tập tiếp theo ở ngày mai để có thể theo dõi tiếp hành trình trong con đường tình yêu cũng như là cuộc sống của Lý Hoai Ca mọi người nhé. Nếu như mọi người yêu quý kênh mình, hãy ấn like, đăng ký kênh, sau đó bật chuông thông báo lên để không bỏ lỡ bất kỳ video nào mọi người nhé. Rất mong là mình có thể gặp lại mọi người trong video tiếp theo. Tạm biệt.